Hello and welcome to another edition of T-Tray Video Game Reviews. I'm your host T-Tray, and today I'm talking about another book-to-game adaptation for the month of November. I'm of course talking about the one and the only, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, for Game Boy Advance. The GBA version of this game was developed by Kryptonite Games and EA. The same people who did Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on Game Boy Color. Not sure how I feel about that. The game features several playable characters, each with their own campaign and following the events of Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers. Unlike the games on PS2 and GameCube, this is an action role-playing game that plays a lot like Diablo, with how you acquire skills and loot. Well, I will say why I dislike turn-based RPGs. Action role-playing games are always a bit better for me. So, let's see where this game stands. This is The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Much like Harry Potter, you once again start with picking your language and then some credits before making it to the title screen. From there you can select your new game and begin a campaign. Your choices are Aragorn, Gandalf, Frodo, Legolas, Eowyn the Woman, and Gimli. It is also available to be played in the game as unlockable. Each character has their own campaign and stages, with each having their own opening sequence. Several of them as part of the Fellowship will start the same with the exception of Eowyn, who was not part of the Fellowship. So pretty much each character has their own skill set. Aragorn uses a long sword, Frodo a short sword, Gandalf his sword and staff, Legolas uses his bow and arrow, and Eowyn also uses a sword. You'll be hacking and slashing through various enemies, raising up your stats and looting items that will shock once an enemy is dead. Once you level up, you can go through the main menu and raise different stats such as strength and defense to make your character stronger. Each character also has 15 active and passive abilities that can be earned throughout the course of the game. There is an ability called Summon, where each character can summon a different character, such as Gandalf with an eagle, Aragorn can summon Legolas or Gimli, Frodo can summon Sam, so on and so forth. Playing the game, I have to admit, is fun going around the map and hacking at different enemies. You figure out where to go by exploring and following where the enemies are coming from. It's hard to tell when the stage begins and ends, but they all vary and follow the movies well, so no complaints here. I will, however, say that after a couple of minutes of hacking enemies, I was simply bored. There was very little variety in movesets, and after a while, I was pretty much just spamming the B button until everything around me fell over dead. Your health meter is shown as a red orb on the bottom left side of the screen, and your massive meter is a blue orb on the opposite side. In order to regain health, you need to find various food items and sometimes pots for a red potion for you to consume to recover health. The story, much like Harry Potter, follows the story of the books and movies to a T, with each character's opening sequence being based on where they were at in the movie and then flashing back to leaving Riverdale from Fellowship with the exception of Eowyn, who was elsewhere at the time. But they all flash back to an earlier part of their offensive leading up to where they are all doing the events of the second movie and book. The graphics are a little better than Harry Potter, but not by much. We've gone from the 8-bit limitation of the Game Boy to the 16-bit limitation of the Game Boy Advance. And while it's able to show movement skills for the movie and better character designs and set pieces, it's still shit so pixelated and pale at times. It really makes you appreciate how far handheld system has come once the Nintendo DS and PSP came onto the market. The music at the character's left screen is that classic Lord of the Rings tune that gets you pumped to play. But after that, the music didn't really stand out to me. In fact, I can't recall if I heard much music at all once I was actually playing the game, which really took me out of playing. I didn't realize just how important game music was to my gaming experience until I played this game. As for flaws, many of the characters in the game feel like clones of each other with very little differences to keep you going. The battle system is dull and uninspiring, the graphics are terrible. The lack of compelling music in Lord of the Rings had a bust they could have used, so there's really no excuse. And sound effects make the game bland. I like the fact that you have more characters to choose from in this version than just Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli like in the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox version of the game. But with the way the game is built, you really don't care to explore those new characters much. Plus the setback that at times it feels too much like Diablo, if Diablo had inferior graphics and was a lot more tame on the blood and creepiness factor. Overall, while it's definitely an improvement upon the previous game in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, they still have a long way to go for making a compelling game. The idea that the same company worked on two popular book to movie games is an interesting one, but it shows their flaws all the more. I'll be generous and give this game a 6 out of 10. That's all for this edition of T-Tray Reviews. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe if you want to see more videos, And join me next week as I celebrate Thanksgiving with a Sega Genesis title. Once again, I'm TJ, and ta-ta for now.